morning, Gardenia. Happy Monday. I hope we had a great weekend. I certainly did with the Libertarian Party of Wisconsin. Great time. That's why I'm late this morning. I'm going to blame them for being way too hospitable. It was amazing. I had a great weekend. Just they I was happy to call it Wisconsin hospitality. A couple visitors around from neighboring states were like, "No, Adam, that's upper Midwest hospitality." But okay, either way, it was an amazing time. And thank you to everybody in the Wisconsin Libertarian Party who helped make their biggest convention ever happen. And thank you to COVID for making it look that much bigger, because they were in a hotel where they got a separate room, and they didn't have to wear masks. It was nice. We were like in the lobby around the food, and except for like at the front desk, they were pretty, they were chill about it for the most part. But yeah, we had distanced seating available for people, and I don't think anybody wore masks like sitting down in the Libertarian. There might have been one or two. I saw people would walk in and out being like extra respectful of the hotel, and I understand for the party, for the staff, like they said, "Hey, we are, since we are grateful that you gave us this mask-free space, and of course, rooms, partied in the rooms. We had a big suite. It was a blast." There's some kind of Wisconsin grain moonshine that I didn't know existed, and now I am keenly aware of. So thank you again, and congratulations to Tony Moen, the new chair of the Wisconsin Libertarian Party, and I look forward to hearing more from you and from everybody, all the great people I met this weekend. We had a great time. We got Jim, executive producer Jim, hit us with the notes before we get it. Well, first, I guess one more sort of like get it out of the way big announcement thing that I would feel remiss if I let go any further in the show. First headline in the stack today, businessinsider.com. This year's first super moon, the pink moon, will rise on Monday. Here's how to spot the rare event. Look up at night. Okay, so the first super moon of 2021 happening late Monday. Get ready for this. So tonight, make if you're not, I mean, like out here living in this is like a low light area, low light pollution area. Always beautiful skies. You can see some of the night photography we've done on the Garden of Freedom Instagram page. And so like we're always looking at the sky. It's just like, just being outdoors, being connected with the elements and nature out here. And it's so funny, like, I live like such a goddamn dirty hippie all the time, and then for 2 hours a day I come and do the show, and it's like all black and white and gray, and like white shirts and slick back hair. And it's like the rest of the time I'm like green and brown and dirt. And I don't know if the show would be any better that way. But the so we're always out. Like, I mean, I'm looking at the sky, like I'm keenly aware that we're having moderately overcast day in Gardenia right now. Looks like a decent chance of some rain on my weather apps. We got a mild wind advisory this morning, so I'm paying, like, it's something that at one point in my life, I read an article last week. Is the cult of productivity over? And I was driven by that, like, sort of false drive towards efficiency. Maybe that's not the right way to describe it, but that would have led me to believe, oh yeah, stargazing, that's an indulgence that takes you off your purpose. And it's like, no, that's the way that humans are meant to live. Our intellects were designed by evolution in a world largely before modern media, where the most interesting natural phenomena, the most entertaining things in the world, aside from what was like immediately around us and affected our survival, was the stars and the sky, and seeing the weather and being able to just connect with the sky that way and understand how it affects you on a daily basis. I think that's a life enhancing thing that connects you to not just nature, like, oh, nature, like bugs and dirt and water and trees. Like, no, like nature, like everything outside yourself, like the universe, the things, all the things, the universe. So the moon, yeah, back to the moon. Monday night, that's tonight. See it tonight. April's full moon is named the pink moon, will be among the brightest and biggest of the year. So a supermoon is a full moon that happens when the moon's orbit brings it closest to Earth. Now, it's probably not going to be actually pink where you're viewing it from. It may be its normal white, gray. It may be a beautiful harvest moon. Like you see in that picture there, it can take on a pinkish tint depending on more your local sky conditions rather than the moon itself. But moons take on that color when they're in the lower part of the sky, obviously. So you really get to enjoy some of that tonight. Sounds like a good cigar and moon night. Yeah, I mean, and you know what? Not only that, it's finally like it's warm enough to do cigars and sunsets. I mean, we've been doing sunsets, but like they're a little chilly to just sit outside. But tonight, yeah, I have an app on my phone that tells me, my weather apps tell me sunrise, sunset, moonrise, moonset. So it's kind of nice to know all that. But I also have, was it Sky Map? Shit, Jim might even know. What's the name of that app on my phone? Yeah, Skyview or something. And there are a few competing apps like this. You might want to just like look at the App Store and see if one works for you, if this is of interest. But you can get an app that you point around the sky, like around you, and it shows you superimposed over the stars in the sky what they are and what, where oh, that's the moon. Oh, then you kind of knew what that was, right? But it'll tell you, you orient it by GPS and whatever, and then it shows you all this. So you can look through the Earth with this app and see, what stars. Oh, you can't see that because it's down, and you look and you can see the horizon, and it'll tell you like what how things are moving. The other related app I have that I use, by the way, that's really cool for this is Camera PX, which allows you to do long exposure night vision shots. Not really night vision, but like night photography or astrophotography. And you go to the night photography mode, and it has an always on astrophotography option that allows you to take exposures up like over 3 minutes long, and long enough that the stars show up blurred in a line or streak because they move, because the Earth the Earth rotates enough over that 3 minutes that the stars so you have to like kind of control it. It's a whole fun thing. If you want to come visit and get into that with me, Jim's got a great example there of one of my my Milky Way shots. So thanks for putting that up, Jim. All right, so tonight, the pink moon will be highest in the sky at 11:32 p.m. Eastern time Monday night. It will appear full on Tuesday night too. So with that, producer notes. Dun, dun, dun. Producer Jim Freedom.
What up? How's it going? Good to see you, sir. Some great shots there. Yeah, I was glad I had you gave me enough time there to go through the Instagram and pull up one of the examples of the night shots. You got a bunch more good ones in there, so they should check that out. T.me/Attenborough-Smith. I don't know if you've heard, but now you have no excuse. That's a Telegram app messenger group that everyone is welcome to. It's public, it's free, it's open. Just go to that link and join us.
Hey, Jim, I want to say, if I may interrupt, there's one thing I want to say about Telegram I haven't said before, I don't think, which is, and certainly not in this context, which is that you should download it and follow our channel, even especially if you're not a Telegram user. You should also have Signal on your phone and maybe WhatsApp, and WhatsApp is the one owned by Facebook, and but alternative. The funny thing is, WhatsApp could, if they had the features of Telegram, could kill Facebook. And this is why I say it's important to download these apps and show that they have a user support and a demand for alternative means of communication. And as alternative broadcast channels, they are, and they're being demonized as, oh, it's the white supremacists, it's the right wingers, it's the who are using Telegram. And it's like, yeah, because you kicked them off Facebook. Where'd you think they were going to go? Well, you also kicked me, at least shadow banned and censored and blah, blah, blah. And I'd rather not be on your platform. I want an ad-free version of your platform where users can connect with me directly and get my broadcast channel on an app if they want. Why is that so much to ask? Well, Telegram makes it possible. And even if it's not, even if you don't use it, like download it, subscribe, and be a part of keeping this channel alive, because it is being threatened, along with so many others.
Definitely, yeah. Well, like you pointed out before, I still get notifications all the time, from an old contact that I didn't even remember was in my contact list. Oh, so and so just joined Telegram. Like so and so just joined.
Yeah,
It's all the
yeah,
time. It's like
it's
reminding me
cool.
that new people are
Yeah.
joining Telegram. I was
Oh,
like, oh,
you're
I
still
didn't even know.
yeah, you're still using this phone number. Cool. And now I have an excuse to message you again. Yeah, I do that. I get a lot of times people do that. I'll send them like, uh, just, oh shit, welcome to the cool kids table. I see you're on Telegram now.
That's funny. That's funny. I use the app with my family to share pictures and videos because it's better than going through text message quality wise. And that's the name of
Yes.
our group, the Cool
Yes.
Kids.
I didn't even know that. No, but it's really the other big advantage of Telegram and these apps that has been an advantage held to some degree by Twitter, by Facebook, by social media as a means of sending images and videos through Messenger, right? Facebook Messenger, like Telegram, like it, because text can sometimes, like actual SMS text can be limiting for that, can be slow for that depending on cell service. But if you have Wi-Fi or whatever, all these data transmissions through these alternative apps that used to be kind of like that function used to be kind of a social media major player monopoly, but now Telegram, WhatsApp, Signal, Wire. I mean, there's a handful of these. Telegram's just my favorite that I've had the best usage with. Also, for regular SMS, by the way, I use an app called Textra, and I like it, certainly preferable to any of the installed apps I've found.
It's too bad we're not getting paid to promote any of these.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, no, that's the thing is like we don't need to get paid, right? Because Telegram doesn't charge us to use its service. Telegram is free.
Yeah.
Like it's a free service. I mean, I suppose they have some premium models by which I should know this now. I'm kind of like, wait, how does Telegram make money? Do you pay for like a premium suite service, right? I should know this. Like, how does Telegram? Let's ask Google.
Good question. I never even thought about it. Didn't care. I just thought it was
All right,
some.
so when you Google
I mean, I
this,
assume with an app like that. Go ahead.
I got the answer. Businessofapps.com from Google says Telegram does not generate revenue as it stands, with a purported commitment to keeping the company free of influence of money. As of September 19, funding is 100% privately generated by Pavel Durov. That's it. It's one donor. So like it could go away at any time, but someone, because they want this to exist, said it exists. So let's help them keep it existing. And it's not because like, oh my God, he's super generous and he's the ultimate philanthropist. Like, I mean, this is a pretty epic thing to say. Like, yeah, I'm going to give humanity something like this and just make it free and available to the public. But it's like, if you're a billionaire and you want this to exist, I don't know if he's,
what do you think the costs are involved with keeping it? Like, I imagine creating it was one thing, creating the app, putting it out in the world so that people can use it and have access to it. And there's got to be a techie there for coding, for maintenance and updates or something. But outside the like updating the app or things like that, like what?
Sure. What does it actually cost to run? Well, here let's ask Telegram themselves, and this is in their terms. Telegram is a free app that currently runs on donations. According to a blog on Telegram, we believe in fast and secure messaging that is also 100% free. Pavel Durov, who shares our vision, supplied Telegram with a generous donation. So we have quite enough money for the time being.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah, because it probably don't cost a lot to run it or keep it running. So the donation they have, probably every time they need something to pay somebody to do an update or something, they take out of that money. So they probably have.
It's a pretty lean operation. If that's all it is, you don't need much. But here's I mean, I'm sure there's a lot more in maintenance than we envision, but it's not like running Facebook. You know, right. It's a tiny by comparison. Excuse me. So another common search about Telegram on Google: why is Telegram banned? Last year, Russia lifted a ban on Telegram that was imposed for more than 2 years after Durov refused to hand over encryption keys that authorities said were needed to fight terrorism. The communications ministry admitted that it was technically impossible to block the messaging app. It's like, yeah, because someone could, cat's out of the bag, and Telegram is it right now. There are others in this sphere, and I think it's actually important that they stay strong, that we maintain a healthy market for sort of alternative communication apps. Is that a fair catch-all here? There's got to be a more precise term than that. I hate things being labeled as alternative. It's like
right.
Alt rock. It's like the alternative to rock. You know what? It's like it hurts my brain the way the word alternative is overused. But alternative messaging apps as sort of and it's not necessarily encrypted because I don't really.
Superior messaging app.
Superior
is better than regular SMS, better than regular messaging.
I mean, that's what it comes down to. Use better shit, be a better market actor, be a conscientious consumer even of just, apps. Like, why use an app that's shitty, that's not encrypted, even if that encryption isn't 100%? Why do shitty things when you cannot do shitty things? Just, right.
Just another word for alternative.
Yeah, there you go. What else do we have to promote today, Jim?
So Telegram has had the shit promoted out of it. But if you want to check out our website, adamversustheman.com, we have a Patreon link on the page that you can check out the different levels to support the show. $1, $5, $10, or even $50 a month. $10 a month is a sweet spot that makes you a better patron. And what that gives you that the public Telegram channel doesn't give you is access to the private Telegram group, the Producers Club. And once you're a member of the Producers Club, you can shop the shop at adamversustheman.com, and you can get 15% off and free shipping for everything you get in the store. We got plenty of merchandise in there, adding new stuff all the time. So check the latest and get your 15% off and free shipping with your Producers Club membership. Then check out the Cigar Federation, awesome website that's got a bunch of exotically flavored cigars, including a CBD infused one that is absolutely delicious. They call it the JSK Nug, and eventually you'll see Adam smoking one of those again on the show, Cigars and Sunsets, or maybe Cigars and Moonlights. Something. After that, you can check out the Instagram at the Garden of Freedom is the tag. You can check out all the pictures and videos, like the night photography we showed you earlier, and you can get involved with all the cool shots that he is playing with his cameras and his cats. You still haven't uploaded the videos or pictures of the new kittens, so I'm a little disappointed. I was
fallen out of the habit and been distracted, and every time I do go to post, something happens, like someone harasses me about not wearing a mask while eating or something.
So, but people, that shouldn't deter you from going to it and saving and sharing and following the at the Garden of Freedom Instagram channel, though, because eventually there's going to be just an upload bomb, and you're going to see a whole bunch of new content. So that's good. Next, visit thecrypto6.com. Check out that website. It explains what's going on with all those guys that got raided for their Bitcoin church. These are all the different QR codes you can use to donate cryptocurrencies to them to help their situation with lawyers, etc. And lastly, visit gogreenenergyonline.com. Great website with great resources and information to tell you everything about going off grid, solar power, micro wind power, and zero energy homes. That's gogreenenergyonline.com. Check it out, watch all the videos, read all the stuff, make yourself smarter.
All right. We got a co-host with us today, ladies and gentlemen, for a who knows what's going to happen mental health on Monday. Mercedes Damertowski joins us from Nebraska. Good morning, dear.
Hello. It's Moon Day today. It's not Mental Health Monday. It's Moon Day because it's Super Moon Monday. I am so excited. I love me some astrology and all that stuff. And Matthew has the week off, so I am like child free right now. Like, she popped in before the show, said hi, said I love you, and then they're gone. They're doing daddy daughter stuff outside today. So it's like a good moon day because now I get to smoke cannabis. It's not real. It's not real, but
It's not real. It's just for stage purposes, theatrical purposes only.
I mean, it has CBD in it. It makes me happy. So, I mean, who am I to complain?
Oh, it's that. Okay.
Yeah, I actually have a joint I bought. It's pre-rolled. I got it from the Old Town Alchemy down on our bricks. Hi, I'm busted. Now I can't smoke. She came inside to make sure I was being good. So no, we have a Old Town Alchemy down on the bricks in downtown. It's a rock shop. It's an alchemy store. It's very pretty. They sell sage and stuff. And rocks. Witches love rocks. Anyway, so we went down there.
Did you say
Hello.
bitches love rocks?
I said
'Cause
I said
I've
witches.
got lots of rocks all
I
over
said-
the place here.
No, witches.
I've got very, very rocky
Witches,
Jamaican.
witches love rocks. Anyway, I got a CBD pre-rolled, and it was $12. It's a full. Here, I'll go get it quick. I'm the disembodied voice in your brain. So I got this Founding Fathers Delta 8 CBD joint. Now, I've been researching what CBD, this is how they sell it, by the way. This is how Nebraska sells joints in a store. It's taxed. It says Founding Fathers. Anyway, so I just can't get over that part.
You mean the ones who fought a war over
And
a
smoked
tax?
and smoked weed while they did it? Okay, so this one time, this is a legal pre-roll. I'm going to spark up because it's a Founding Fathers. It's a super moon. We need some good vibes and good energies, bro.
Sometimes I buy weed at the dispensary, but I definitely prefer it in
shaker.
baggies.
See, and
I'm like, why is this empty? Oh,
did you smoke all your weed?
Shit! No, I smoked all my weeds. And
I was gonna buy more weed, but then I got. Speaking of, I've seen Afro Man live. He came to Carney. I've partied with him. Oh, yeah. I have so many. I'll show them to you if I ever make it down to Arizona ever again. I have all the videos on my phone still. Matthew went with me. It was pre-kid. So it was back when I was still wild and free. So this is for all my homies serving time for weed.
All right. Well, what's the comment? Before you do that, what's the comment?
Oh, the comment contest today is, we discussed it pre-show. We need a funniest comment. Today's a good day. It's a super moon. It's an important one because it's about love and unity and togetherness and hippie bullshit. So yeah, I guess whichever comment we think is best wins today. I don't know. Also, there's a so
how about funniest comment about how crazy people are about COVID?
I'm down for that because me, 3/21/2020, the anarchists seeing the rest of the country freak out and my own state government going, it's down to the locals.
Hey, you know what? COVID and my bad jokes about it have in common. You probably won't get either. And with that, let's take our COVID vitamins and give out some misleading medical advice, shall we?
Jesus Christ, Adam.
As libertarians, we are making the case for principle, fundamentally. First and foremost, we are making the case that principles matter, that ethics matter, that the non-aggression principle matters, that you own yourself, that is a free, beautiful, independent human being, that is something to be respected as a matter of principle. And oftentimes, by getting sucked into playing politics and making the wrong arguments and falling, frankly, for the distractions and the bullshit of the propaganda and the misleading policies, the sleight of hand, all of the stuff that government does, so you don't see that its real purpose is to keep the powerful in power and the super rich getting richer at the expense of the rest of us. And what we're seeing it do under COVID is no different. Why should we be surprised? And when we argue about the effectiveness of masks, when we argue about whether the lockdowns or shutdowns work, we are missing the argument from principle. And as is often the case, the statist position is not only wrong on fact, wrong on purpose, wrong in effect, wrong in outcome, but it's also wrong in principle. And when it comes to biohazards, things like COVID, we shouldn't be arguing about how deadly COVID is or is not. As a matter of principle, it's not relevant because we should be looking to apply principles if we are being faced with a genuine challenge. Apply our principles and see how we can apply them consistently, and then examine why, when we abandon our principles, we get impractical results. So in this case, the principle is the same, whether the virus causes everybody who touches it to die or is milder than the flu. Doesn't matter. You have a right to protect yourself. You have a right to not be molested. You have a right to go out and wear a full bodysuit if you want. You have a right to stay home in a time where you think it's too dangerous to go outside. You have the absolute right with your private property, with your business, to the extent that you are the actual legitimate owner of that business. So, when it comes to government public facilities and certain things that we say you have a right to access, the lines get a little blurred, right? If I paid for this with my tax dollars, I'm a part owner. I have a right to be here. Now, even for business policy, there's relevance to this principle. Now, if you run a nursing care center for old people or a long-term care facility, if that's, and everybody there is vulnerable to a new particular biohazard, and you want to set policy on your property based on that, hey, absolutely. But if you really want to be a principled business, and if you don't have a particular threat, then you don't ask your customers to put on a hazmat suit before coming into your place of business, but you give them the right to, you respect their right to, and you respond to market demands. In a sense, I don't have a problem with what I see in a lot of situations where just because, 10% of their customer base is scared dumb, and if they see your employees not wearing masks, they're going to go, okay, then have your employees wear masks. Respond to the market. But you can do that in a principled way, in respect for your customers as well. And you have a right to protect yourself, but there's a limit to that right, because you have a right to do things to yourself to protect yourself, to change your behavior to protect yourself, but you don't get to go and use your fear of anything to violate the rights of others, to control the behavior of others, to say, well, you have to stay home. You have to wear a mask in public, or you have to wear a mask under these circumstances where nobody within 6 feet of you cares that you're wearing a mask or not. And where we have come now is a point not only of this, maybe it's a sensationalist term, medical tyranny, right? That there's a kind of new relevance, new level of control, not just of tyranny. And I don't like the term tyranny. It's kind of an arbitrary sensationalist term. But clearly, there's been a surge of statism, a radical increase, a dangerous, extreme increase in government control and relevance in your daily lives because of COVID, or with COVID as the justification and excuse for it right now. Just as to this day, 9/11, regardless of what you think happened that day, is used as an excuse to justify so much militarism that has followed, so much unjust invasion and occupation, war crimes, even to this day. Well, because of 9/11. Well, because of COVID. And they don't justify it. They never do. Again, it doesn't matter if 9/11 was an inside job or 9/11 was exactly what the government told us it was. Doesn't matter. The invasion and occupation of Iraq and Afghanistan for decades was not a logical, justified response to that. It was a war crime. And similarly, what is being done today is a crime against the people of the world, a crime against humanity, by those who deliberately manipulate policy to serve their personal interests at the expense of the rest of us. And that's the story of COVID that has to be told. This is why we, the people, not they, the government, who is censoring us, as you'll see in our COVID block today, tells the story, or we tell the story of COVID, and not the powers that be. And now the science, it's like I don't want I'm done. It's like that's all I want to say about COVID. It's everything that violates that principle, that is trying to say you can't do this because I'm afraid, or we are afraid, so you can't do this thing that you have a right to do. No, that's the line to draw. But anyway, into the headlines. New York Post: you're no safer from COVID-19. Social distancing at 6 or 60 feet, study says. Yeah. Social distancing inside at 60 feet is no safer than at 6 feet. And exposure time indoors is actually far more important, according to a new study from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. In a report that challenges widely accepted COVID-19 prevention guidelines, researchers say there's little benefit to health officials' 6-foot rule, especially when wearing masks inside. The distancing isn't helping you that much, and it's also giving you a false sense of security because you're as safe at 6 feet as you are at 60 feet if you're indoors. Everyone in that space is at roughly the same risk, actually. I'm getting tired of telling you I told you so. During the study, researchers calculated exposure risk to the virus based on factors such as amount of time spent inside, air filtration, and circulation. Looked at factors such as mask use, immunization, respiratory activity. They found that the amount of time spent indoors with an infected person is more important than the distance you are from them, a factor that the CDC and the World Health Organization have overlooked, according to researchers. Oh, really? I mean, it's giving them too much credit. Oh, they just overlooked that. They just didn't know that was going to be irrelevant. No, they just wanted to make themselves more relevant. They wanted to increase the control, the fear, the distraction, the suppression of humanity. As one of the study authors said, it really has no physical basis because the air a person is breathing while wearing a mask tends to rise and come down elsewhere in the room. So you're more exposed to the average background air. He added, what our analysis continues to show is that many spaces that have been shut down, in fact, don't need to be. Oftentimes the space is large enough, the ventilation is good enough, the amount of time people spend together is such that those spaces can be safely operated, even at full capacity. And the scientific support for reduced capacity in those spaces is really not very good. As he said, we need scientific information conveyed to the public in a way that is not just fear-mongering, but is actually based in analysis. As Besant said, this emphasis on distancing has been really misplaced from the very beginning. The CDC or WHO have never really provided justification for it. The only justification I'm aware of is based on studies of coughs and sneezes where they look at the largest particles that might sediment onto the floor, and even then, it's very approximate. You can certainly have longer or shorter range large droplets. The study makes no mention of whether there's a safety risk difference between 0 and 6 feet. In general, masks work by blocking larger respiratory droplets, including from coughing and sneezing, but most people who transmit the coronavirus don't show those symptoms, according to the researchers. Yeah, so apparently your mask, your breath goes up and into the ambient air with your COVID droplets. MedicalNewsToday.com, gum disease linked to severe COVID-19 outcomes. Researchers at McGill University find a strong link between periodontitis, a common form of gum disease, and severe COVID-19 outcomes. Inflammatory response can spread through the body. Now, there might be, it says people with periodontitis were 8.8 times more likely to die of COVID-19. So pretty significant. And you can read, by the way, I wonder if this was put out by somebody who's got a financial interest in you brushing your teeth more. But the periodontists going trending with obesity and age. Are you just teasing out another correlation in order to scare people about COVID? I don't know. Sounds like it. Now, Forbes has some practical information in COVIDnomics, inflation's mixed basket, 7 things that will cost you more and 3 that will cost you less in the COVID recovery economy. So this is pretty cool. Things that you can expect to pay more for wine, beer, and liquor. This is the one that's worth getting into, right? Alcohol prices, including wine, beer, and spirits, rose 2% in the year ended February 2021, according to data from the Bureau of Economic Analysis. And restaurant sales of alcohol plummeted during the pandemic, but online sales soared. So they say this is going to go up for a while, but the boost might not be sustainable. A used car, a combination of pandemic-driven changes on the consumer front, moves to suburbs, working from home, stimulus checks and excess savings, and a shortage of new cars. Thanks to supply chain issues and pandemic production slowdowns, have sent prices for pre-owned. Why do they have to use the propaganda term? And the correct term is it's a used car. I don't think I've ever bought a new car. I've only bought used cars. I don't call them pre-owned cars. Go fuck yourself. Wholesale used car prices jumped an eye-watering 26% in March on a year-over-year basis, according to Cox Automotive. Now, I guess I was wrong about this. I made a prediction, and I think it was true for a while that used car prices would come down because people in desperation with extra vehicles would be selling that second car sitting around. But it turns out that the balance and the bigger forces on used car versus new cars would have been driving up used cars. I don't think that's going to go up that much more. Tampons, diapers, and toilet paper. Consumer giant Procter & Gamble announced last week that it plans hike prices on a variety of products in its baby care, feminine care, and adult incontinence products this fall because of rising commodity costs. Yep. Next is home gardening supplies, and it's citing 26% of adults have taken up food gardening during the pandemic. That's a great thing. Overall shift to efficiency and self-sufficiency. The price of seeds, flowers, and potted plants surged more than 10% between February 20 and 21. Your next do-it-yourself construction project. This is really big for me here. Lumber prices are soaring this spring and have nearly tripled. Since early 2020. That wood, lumber, tripled since early 2020, thanks in part to a home building surge, 1.7 million new housing units built in March alone. Remember, they couldn't use COVID to slow down mainstream home construction. So this is the highest monthly total we've had since 2006, also due to delays in supply chains now stretched to the breaking point in both increased consumer demand and a pine beetle infestation in Canadian forests. Now, good news here. Capital economics analyst Samuel Berman wrote, prices may not stay this high for much longer, quote, even though we expect lumber demand to hold up well for some time. We still think that a rebound in supply will lead to a sharp fall in the price of U.S. lumber over the next 18 months. Next, a new refrigerator appliances rose 12% in the year ending in February, and a house. And this is crazy right now that home prices are going up. And as the pandemic upend routines, demand for homes is also skyrocketing. Freddie Mac estimated this month that the housing shortage at the end of 2020 had risen to 3.8 million units, up from 2.5 in 2018. The National Association of Realtors said Thursday that the median price of an existing home was up 17.2% on an annual basis to $329,000 in March. Properties not only on the market for about 18 days before they were sold, a historic low. So the rebound is including a huge surge in real estate demand. And I don't want to, try to cover this topic as glibly as we are hitting the rest of these items here. because the housing market is the subject of so much manipulation from so many other dynamics and direction that it's almost shortchanging to try to pick it apart. But overall, it's worth reminding that the housing market is still a hugely inflated market because of government manipulation, lowering the price or incentivizing borrowing around home ownership. And of course, right now, the fact remains, as far as I know, I don't think this has changed in a while, but that there are more empty homes than homeless people in the United States. Obviously, we're doing something wrong. So, looking for a bargain. Not everything has gotten more expensive. A new wardrobe, clothing, and shoe prices went down 4.6% between February 20 and 21, according to the BEA. Demand plummeted, and consumers turned to work from home friendly loungewear. But that might be over soon. So be looking for clothing prices to plummet or to stay low for at least a while, and for perhaps retailers to be desperate to get customers back in stores. Alone, interest rates are still at rock bottom and likely to remain there, at least for now. That means it's a great time to borrow, especially if you have good credit, and especially with the impending inflation overall. Who knows if you can get a loan and pay it back for pennies on the dollar after the dollar crashes, right? That's always the fantasy, to time that one right. Electronics and computer equipment prices for TVs and other electronics have been falling for years. Pandemic was no exception. Price of AV equipment down 3.8 during the year ending Feb 21. Computer software prices down almost 8%. Calculators and other information processing equipment plummeted more than 16%. I don't know if that's because of a shift and a consolidation around smartphones, but there is an opportunity for buyers there. Wall Street Journal, COVID-19 case cluster linked to one flight stirs debate among health experts. A third of passengers on plane from New Delhi to Hong Kong tested positive, highlighting the risks of pandemic travel. And the funny thing about this is it's just one more thing that goes, oh, all your precautions are bullshit. Sorry. Other than isolation or hygienic isolation, the distancing in indoor spaces, then getting onto a plane and wearing masks. Not okay. So now instead of breathing out in this space in front of me, I'm breathing up into the air that's moving. I mean, it's absolutely insane. When it comes down to it, you have the right to decide whether the risk of wearing a mask for yourself, for your own health, outweighs the risk of not wearing one. MIT researchers, oh, sorry, this is a repeat of the other story because we got it in the Producers Club as well. Next fear headline from Sun Sentinel, South Florida hospitals are admitting more COVID patients as variants spread. And if you encourage everybody to go into hospitals anytime they have the flu, and this is the new flu virus, this is the new thing that's mutating and getting out there, well, of course, okay, more hospitalizations. I don't know how much I trust these numbers, though, at this point. So much propaganda, even if you look at it and go, okay, it's real. Yeah, to what depth are governments and pharmaceuticals willing to go to fabricate stories, to fabricate the basis for stories even? And these are people who are willing to kill for money in huge numbers historically. Don't put it past them now. But I don't think it's working. As News4Jax.com has this headline in sports, I don't think it gets any better. UFC thrills sellout Jacksonville crowd plans to return. Knockout headline, UFC 261. UFC president says event was one of the best they've ever had. Yeah. And in Bradenton, we have, so you can't, don't trust anybody who's selling a cure to something that you don't need a cure for. Our next headline from Bradenton Herald by MSN. Bradenton family may spend life in prison after church sold bleach as COVID-19 cure. Federal, and you know what? To all the hucksters selling the fear around this, yeah, this is on your hands too. A federal grand jury brought charges against members of the Bradenton family nearly a year after they were arrested for selling bleach that they claimed to be a cure for the COVID-19 virus. Mark Brennan and his three sons, Jonathan, Jordan, and Joseph. 3 J's, no waiting. faced several charges for peddling their miracle mineral solution to customers even after the Food and Drug Administration refuted those claims and a court ordered the family to halt sales of the chemical. If only they put the same scrutiny on killers in government and uniform. Bloomberg at MSN Switzerland says a third of population has had COVID-19. The Swiss government estimates that about 1/3 of the population has been, yeah. Crazy. Does that mean that the racket falls apart? No, because they'll just come up with another variant and a new surge. But don't worry, they're easing up because they can only get away with the lockdowns for so long. Daily Mail with this headline: vaccinated American tourists will be allowed to visit Europe this summer. EU boss hails huge progress of U.S. COVID vaccine drive with 94 million now fully vaccinated. It's this weird, wink, wink, nudge, nudge among world leaders. Like, we're all going to help each other get away with this, right? So, yeah, even the EU boss. 77 inmates, this is from ABC News Next. 77 inmates at Iowa prison given overdoses of COVID-19 vaccine, officials say. You mean where government has the most control over people, they cannot even give out vaccines properly. They're not, did they learn the error? No. To India now. India COVID crisis. Victims dying in streets as families hunt for black market oxygen. Another story from India from the Wall Street Journal. India accused of censorship for blocking social media criticism amid COVID surge. New Delhi orders Twitter and Facebook to remove content it says is misinformation. Digital Watchdog says many of the posts challenge government's handling of the crisis. It's shocking, right? Well, the excuse from Britain is no better. The Guardian has this headline: outrage as number 10, that's number 10 Downing Street, where the Prime Minister lives, or his office, whatever, rolls out urgent inquiry into COVID mistakes. Exclusive. Bereaved families are told that people who would need to give evidence are working around the clock. We are working. You know what this excuse comes down to? We are working too hard to be held accountable for our work. We are working too hard to pause to help have our work scrutinized. Yeah. No. And apparently there's another story mentioned here, not looking good for Boris Johnson with this excuse. Public support for COVID inquiry more than twice as high as opposition. Now, so aside for that, what they're hiding, back to India for a second, skipping ahead, if you don't mind, Jim, to GreenwichTime.com. Eric Cunningham with the Washington Post writes, fire kills COVID patients in second India hospital disaster this week as COVID cases surge to record level. A fire that broke out at a hospital in Western India killed at least 14 coronavirus patients Friday, authorities said, as the embattled nation reported another record-shattering number of new cases, and officials in the capital scrambled to secure fresh oxygen supplies. The blaze came 2 days after an oxygen leak at another Indian hospital left more than 20 COVID-19 patients dead. Holy shit. No wonder they're censoring criticism. What an abject failure that, oh my gosh, just so happens to be, even in India, let me guess, keeping the powerful in power and making the super rich richer at the expense of everybody else. How'd I know? From Reuters, Canadians avoiding hotel quarantines for air travelers fuel taxi boom on U.S. border. Yeah, there's a workaround. Or, as Bloom would say, life finds a way. In Israel, from Bloomberg Quint, Israel examines Israel examines heart inflammation cases after Pfizer shot. Israel is examining dozens of cases where people experienced heart inflammation after receiving Pfizer Inc. and BioNTech's SE's coronavirus vaccine. But I'm not here to fearmonger about the vaccine. It's no more dangerous than the virus. But there is an alternative, freethink.com. Can CBD be the next superbug slayer? Oh, gee, there's a reason people with weed in their lungs, or what is it? People who smoke weed tend to have slimmer waistlines. People with slimmer waistlines tend to not die when they get COVID. Can CBD be the next superbug slayer? Surprise, surprise. Is there anything this plant can't do? Researchers are testing CBD and antibiotics and the cannabinoid by itself against drug-resistant bacteria. The syringe was very full, very large. All right, well, this is one of those things. If you want to see more about this, check the links t.me/Adam versus the man. One other effect of coronavirus, it's messing with the monkeys in Thailand. According to the New York Post, monkeys fight for food in Thailand after coronavirus slows tourism. If you don't know, yes, there are large populations of monkeys that depend on tourists feeding them, dropping food intentionally or not. From Gallup, U.S. economic confidence positive for first time in pandemic. Oh, we're in it. It's still COVID season. Okay, because this would be one of the signs that we're coming out of it. Economic confidence index +2 in April, first time in positive territory since early March 2020. Majority confident in Biden's ability to handle the economy. How about not handle it? Okay, as we get to the end of our COVID block, khn.org, a look back. We're coming for you, for public health officials, a year of threats and menace. Oh, I thought it was, when I first read this headline, I thought it was from public health officials, a year of threats and menace, because that's what's dominated society from public health officials. Don't operate your business or we will send men with guns to shut you down. Don't go out in public without a mask or we will arrest you and issue you fines and ban you from whatever spaces. Be afraid. We will threaten you and we will harass you and we will enlist corporate employees all over the country to harass you about mask policy. Man, I love living in Arizona. At least Chino Valley community, man, going to the Safeway yesterday. Employees got to wear masks because there are enough scared people who shop there to go, please don't let your employees cough on our food, for as irrational as that may be. But the majority, yesterday, I went to Safeway on my way home from the airport. You know what? Most people, most customers, no masks. Smiles. Dr. Gail Newell looks back on the past year and struggles to articulate exactly when the public bellows of frustration around her COVID-related health orders morphed into something darker and more menacing. Yeah, let's flip this around. This is like going to a murderer and going, like hearing his case of like, well, why do people not like me? It was all justified. Certainly that Sunday afternoon in May when protesters broke through the gates to her private hillside neighborhood, took up positions around her home and sang Gail to Jail, a ritual they would repeat every Sunday for weeks. Or the county board of supervisors meeting not long after, where a visibly agitated man waiting for his turn at the microphone suddenly lunged at her over a small partition, staring her down even as sheriff's deputies flanked him and authorities cleared the room. The letters, emails, and cell phone calls, I'm not justifying all these responses. I think, in the invading, making a threatening gesture, physical gesture to someone isn't justified in this situation. It's not a appropriate or effective defense. But why are you surprised? It's like when that YouTube shooter did that suicide shooting after getting censored on YouTube. I didn't want to go like, yeah, she was right to do it, but it was like, yeah, I get it. What do you expect? Fuck with enough people, they're going to be crazy people. And if you fuck with a giant sector of society, you'll be fucking with enough crazy people that some of them might just turn on you, as opposed to what most of us are doing with a calm, reasoned, de-escalatory response while you are escalating the harassment. The letters, emails, and cell phone calls that now number in the hundreds and inevitably open with quote, bitch, and make clear people know where she lives and wish her dead. And that January meeting with Santa Cruz County Sheriff Jim Hart after the vicious mob attack on the U.S. Capitol, when he recommended to a room full of county officials that deputies do a threat assessment of each of their homes. Newell, who'd already been through the process, casually mentioned a New Year's resolution to get more exercise and start walking to work. Absolutely not, Hart told her. She wasn't walking anywhere without an escort. And it's like to these people, do you not realize that if this is necessary, you are not serving people? Why? Like, you not ask why? Like, you just don't ask, oh, geez, well, oh, maybe it's because we're forcing shit on them that they don't want. Maybe it's because that's not justified. You should stop. Newell, 63, is the health officer in Santa Cruz County, a picturesque string of communities hiking California's rugged Central Coast. In normal years, hers would be a largely invisible job that involves tracking measles outbreaks and STD infections, testing children for lead exposure, and alerting the public to tainted lettuce and unhealthy air. COVID has changed all that in ways both expected and not. Newell, like health officials across the nation, has been thrust into an unwelcome spotlight and subjected to extreme scrutiny from politicians and the public over mask requirements, business closures, and the extended interruption of travel and social gatherings. Now, I genuinely empathize with these health officials, especially those who were thrust into this unexpectedly. We're just like, oh shit, this is part of my job now. And, you know, I don't feel sorry for you because you should have said, fuck this, I'm out of here. Same as I should have said when they said, hey, Marines, we're going to Iraq. Fuck this, I'm out of here. I never should have joined in the first place. And ultimately, you never should have joined in the first place either. Some of the dissent was understandable. The shocked response of residents asked to make unprecedented sacrifices during a time of great uncertainty. But in Santa Cruz and many other U.S. communities, legitimate debate has devolved into overt intimidation and threats of violence. So, yeah, and don't let this propaganda fool you. I'm skipping over so much of the story to jump to the conclusion, as if I had a map with which to jump. She has stayed not because she thinks things will necessarily get better, but because quitting wouldn't make her life easier. It just teach people that if they're loud enough and mean enough, they can get what they want. No, it shows us that we can fight back against injustice effectively. That we can push back against criminals, whether you're working for government or the private sector. If she had learned, okay, so anyway, quote, it's not the idea that everything will turn out fine, so that no matter what, you can survive this. Well, stop being a criminal and you'll be more likely to survive. How about that? As for Newell, she said she'll stick the job out because she's stubborn that way, but she and her wife have rethought their retirement plans, and we don't feel comfortable being out in the community, or we're afraid to live here. We're not going to want to stay. And that's something of a heartbreak. Well, then stop harassing the community in the name of government. Now, in COVIDnomics, yes, this is about COVID, CNSnews.com, federal taxes, spending, and deficit all set records in first half of fiscal year 2021. And of course, this is, I think, the last part that the last political regime, or the last color of political regime in America, is responsible for. But yes, the trend of those things growing continues. Now with some good news pushing back, DailyWire.com with this sickening. Polish pastor who threw Gestapo Calgary police from church gets another visit, kicks them out again. The Polish pastor who went viral after forcefully ejecting police and health officials from his church in Calgary, Alberta on Good Friday received another visit from them on Saturday, prompting him to kick them off church property again. So I don't know, you want to play a clip of this one, Jim? At least give people a taste of what this is. If you want, you can check the notes, the links in the notes at t.me/Adam versus the man. Go ahead, roll audio on this, please.
Yes. Hello, Walter.
Hi, Arthur. I wonder if I could just give you a couple of pieces of the court order. This is for you. It basically outlines that we have the right to enter today. What I would really
Please, you don't have to get into a personal space. Thank you.
what I would,
Well, you're in my
yeah,
personal
exactly.
space, so
Can I explain to you, Arta?
I'm not
can I-
really interested in
can
what
I
you have to
explain?
say.
Can I explain to you?
I'm reading.
Okay, okay. What we'd want to do is make sure that we're not going to disrupt anything with the service. The idea
This is you have a wrong. This is not street church. This is not street church. You have a wrong.
both things are actually on there. Both churches are detailed on there. So if we could come and do
The
an
Cave of
inspection-
Adullam is not a registered organization, and this is not street church. So you have a wrong. You gotta
Okay.
do your homework first before you come. Okay? You have a wrong. You have a wrong organization.
Okay, that is for you, Arta.
Yeah.
I will send it to you by email too, if you'd like. I just wanted to be able to come today and then at least explain the order, serve the order, and then we can stand at the back.
No, you can
We can
contact.
stand at the
No,
back
no, 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 no,
during
no.
the service
You
and
can
just do
contact
it,
my
and then
lawyer.
we'll
Okay,
be
my
there for
lawyer
3
takes care
minutes,
of
and then we
this.
can be out
I'm
of
not interested to listen to any word you have to say. I do not cooperate with Gestapo. I do not talk to the Nazis. You came in your uniforms like thugs. That's what you are. Brown shirts of Adolf Hitler. You are Nazi, Gestapo, communist, fascist. I do not cooperate with Nazis. Talk to my lawyer. You're not allowed here. You're not welcomed here.
Arta.
And I'm not going to cooperate with Gestapo like you, okay? So is that fair enough for you?
Arta,
talk
I
to
just
my
wanted-
lawyer.
I just wanted to explain a little bit about the order.
I'm not
I just wanted
interested.
to at least have a conversation.
I'm not
and then we
interested
can
in
talk
talking. You
about
see,
some of
you see,
the
this is what
requirements.
is doing. You coming to the place of worship to intimidate
We're not
and
coming
to harass.
intimidate, we're
So
coming to
you can make
sure
an
that you-
appointment. Lady, listen to me.
we
You can
make-
make an appointment another day.
Okay, there's
You
no-
Gestapo
You don't need to shout.
another day.
You don't need to shout.
Not this
You
day.
don't need to shout.
Not this day.
Okay,
Not during the church. You understand? Make an appointment.
okay, fine.
Okay. So go.
See you later on. Have a good day.
You are sick. That's what you are. And rightfully so, you change your uniforms to black because you're exactly acting like the Gestapo of old. Sickening what this country came to. Coming to the place of worship with their uniform, with their guns, again during the time of worship. They could do it another time. They could do it another day. No, they are following the orders of the Führer, Hitler, communists. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Wicked, evil people. Wicked, evil people.
Beautiful, beautiful example of just using your words, assertiveness, staying calm, and saying no. Get off my lawn, get off my property, get out of my face. And you know, this is Pastor Artur Pawlowski. He's a hero, badass. I love this guy. There's a prior incident where they came into his church and he chased them out. And there's something that is, you know, that much more righteous when people say, yes, we are a church. We are connecting with God. This is a sacred space. You will respect this. If you want to have authority in our community, you will respect our relationship with God. And the government says, no, we don't really respect it. We respect COVID more. Did you hear what she said? We can sit in the back during your service. Because of COVID, you, the church, must have government agents sitting in the back of your service. I don't know what else to say. What are the comments? We see empty. They're doing it for our safety. Government just wants to help. Yo, lol. Okay. All right. So finally, our last story, and it was actually our co-host Mercedes. Oh wait, we have a $10 super chat. First Domino. Thank you very much, First Domino, weighing in for $10. Excuse me. It was actually our co-host Mercedes. I believe you shared this in our Telegram Producers Club chat. This is the last story in our COVID block, and then it will be completely contained According to CBS News, the IRS is holding millions of tax returns, delaying refunds. Oh, you thought when you let government take money out of your paycheck that they would do what they said they were going to do with it? Aren't you adorable? Just so preciously naive. No, this is what it's all about. Money and power and holding on to it. That's what they're doing. So for those of you who made the unfortunate decision to have a job where government gets to keep money from your paycheck, well, here's to you. I hope you're enjoying your COVID vitamins, if they even let them smoke that. Even that is, if they even let you have them with that kind of job type job. All right, let's get Mercedes back up here to check in with the audience and actually get your help covering this next story as an activist, because this is a big one. But what do we got for jokes, dear?
Oh, just so many. It's all the
Forrest
jokes. Actually,
over
oh my God, all the jokes today in my face. They've just been, honestly, it's just been a lot of just talking back and forth and just conversing
talking.
about, just talking in the comments. And it's just like
a civilized adult conversation.
I mean, there was somebody decided to call somebody dopey, but I mean, that's literally the worst it's gotten.
Dopey.
Dopey.
I guess are the trolls starving today? Have
I think that
not put out enough troll food?
No, but first Domino with that super chat. Thank you for that, because also, he's being funny. He's speaking truth, but he also said he's a welder, and I'm a welder, and welders just flock together. Yo, we get welded like that. It's the personality type.
Welders
Truly,
stick together. Is that what you're trying to say?
I can't even with the puns when it comes to the metals. It's just so rad. Oh, you did? Sorry. My husband, we got plants the other day, and so we planted them yesterday and today, and he got some Carolina Reapers. And so they needed to be put in a very safe, specific space because we have animals and dogs.
Peppers, right?
Yeah, and so I don't want them around my other peppers either because they're cross-pollinate and they can increase the spice of what's in my garden. And I have some not hot peppers that are specifically bred not to have spice in them in my garden. So, we're just...
I put them right by the gate, right where you open the gate on our fence.
That's actually a great spot.
Right there, and I put
Has the best sun. Anyway, yeah, we're doing...
Is he trying to get us to hear him on the air? 'Cause all I hear is
No.
chorus
He's
back
talking to me because he doesn't like... It's fine. So he planted some plants for us. So yeah, so right now... Oh, Jet Petty just commented. See, right now it's between First Domino and Jet Petty because Welder's got a weld, yo. Welder's got a weld. It's because we built the world. Literally.
Just look out when metalheads get together with welders, because welders stick together.
So that joint was nice. Thank you. Yeah. So the story that you want to go over? What are we doing?
All right. Yeah, so this is Yahoo from last week, April 21st. Wanted to cover this, but really wanted to take our time. The Postal Service is running a covert operations program that monitors American social media posts.
Yeah.
And you go like, I told you so. And I want you to watch the comments on this one too, Mercedes, because this is a big story and this affects all of us. And especially those of us who are, it's just confirmation. And this is like I wish I could have told you so that it was like the post office, but really I probably joked years ago. There's so many government agencies with so many black budgets and so much excessive organization capacity that, yeah, it won't be long before even the post office is spying on us. And it's like, oh shit.
So I'm going to take
office is spying on us.
I like this view, Jim, because you can't see the background stuff now. Anyway, so this one time, I'm going to argue as the statist for this, just because I can. It's fun thought exercise for me. So you be the libertarian for a moment. The post office spying on us is bad. I'm just going to say that first. It doesn't matter if you're statist or not. Privacy is privacy. But the U.S. Postal Service is its own branch of its own government. Like the U.S. Postal Service is self-funded independently. So, like, I'm not saying it's good that they're monitoring us, but ask why. Why are they monitoring us? Could it be because they're looking at other federal agents to see what they want to do when they're defunding and downsizing the post office to cause congestion so that we're not getting our mail on time? You know, a disruption in the distribution of our mail.
But the thing about the USPS is that it has unique monopolistic advantages granted by government.
It's the stamps,
And
yo.
instead of its resources being directed to competition and providing the best services to customers, they are like a cartel defending their quasi monopoly.
Yeah,
And in
that's
this
the
case,
thing,
we
though.
have FedEx and we have USPS, and there is carrier competition,
There
but still
is.
the USPS not only has the organizational momentum of monopolistic power, but also government protection in a kind of super corporate status. And if it wasn't for that, we cannot therefore complain that our tax dollars are being used to spy on us. Our tax dollars, rather, are being used to squash competition through corporatism, creating the opportunity for the USPS to use its money to spy on us and do so with legal impunity.
And if you receive mail, you are enabling the system that they are using because you are giving them your money. I can't think like this anymore. It's literally giving me a headache.
If you receive mail or if you send mail?
Send mail. I mean, if somebody's receiving mail, they're paying for it. But I mean, if you are receiving mail, you are inherently enabling the system because somebody's spending money to do it to send it to you.
Sure, right. Well, unless
but
it's
I also
junk mail.
Fucking spammers.
Don't respond to junk mail as a matter of
that
principle.
chain letter
Please,
from
just
98 is
don't
haunting me.
respond to junk mail.
It's the chain letter from 98,
And
Adam.
eventually, if everybody, like, look, you guys want to stop junk mail from ever coming to your mailbox ever again, we just have to unite as Americans and say we're not going to respond to it anymore.
See,
literally, any mail that we get that we did not solicit, whether it's from government or spammers, same thing, right? Goes straight to the round file.
I bring back the Pony Express. Make America Pony Express again. And then we can have federal identification ponies.
Do you want to get into this story? Is it worth it? Or is that all we need to say about it?
I don't know. You can get into it.
We at least got to give people the outline here. The law enforcement arm. The law enforcement arm of the U.S. Postal Service. Note that it doesn't say the law enforcement arm of UPS, the law enforcement arm of FedEx, the law enforcement arm of your local bike courier company. No, it's the law enforcement arm of the U.S. Postal Service has been quietly running a program that tracks and collects American social media posts, including those about planned protests, according to a document obtained by Yahoo News. The details of the surveillance effort known as ICOP, or Internet Covert Operations Program, have not been previously made public. The work involves having analysts trawl through social media sites to look for what the documents describe as inflammatory postings and then sharing that information across government agencies.
I know what they're doing. Like,
let's use the Postal Service.
I know what they're doing. So remember back.
Nobody hates their mailman. He brings them stuff.
I mean, for real though, who hates a fucking mailman? I love my mailman. They bring me Ipsy.
Make mailmen ride horses again.
Yes, make them pony again. Pony around, cowboy, pony boy. No, but here's what I'm seeing as it hurts my brain. So do you remember back in the day before the post office started taking actual political hits and they started literally putting pipe bombs in mailboxes to blow up their mailmen? Like that was a problem in this area. People were putting pipe bombs in their mailboxes to blow up their mailmen. Mailmen were under attack, literally physically. So if you've already had a history of violence against your workers workers, and it's a certain group of people, this makes sense if you know the history of the violence that's already been committed against this branch of the government. This branch of the government is under attack by other branches of the government because it is a pillar of democracy, because that's how the government set itself up to work. So if you take this out, I mean, free market prevail. Thank you, free market, for saving us when the post office is under attack. But that's what's going on, is they're degrading democracy by attacking the post office.
To that specific function, it's legitimate, right? If it's just like, and if UPS,
because if the legal system of the United States government relies on the post office for all of its legal documents, and they can't get shit there on time, now you have a delay in the court system. That's a chain reaction, chain effect. So if they've already been under attack, they're going to monitor the population because they're going to our house. They are frontline coming to our homes, have in the past been blown up.
Right. So if it was UPS drivers who had been experiencing the same thing, it would be reasonable for UPS.
They carry pepper spray now.
Okay, that's good. Well, it would be reasonable for UPS to be looking to, if they could just have AI scan all public social media, not private. It's not a violation of any privacy, but this is the reality of how information is shared. This is how principles apply here. If you post something public, anybody else, including UPS, including government, except for the fact that they don't have a right to exist in the first place, and their motives are wrong and corrupt in doing so, but they have a right by itself to look at your public posts. And so if it's very inexpensive for UPS to get an AI in their security division and have it troll public posts for anybody saying, I think I'm going to shoot my UPS driver today. God, someone's going to clip that and take that out of context.
Please don't.
But if somebody were to post that on Facebook,
that's a threat. That's a credible threat.
It would be irresponsible for UPS to then send a driver to that address if they can locate it with the address, right?
Being the messenger boy, people forget not to shoot the fucking messenger, and the post office is literally just trying to be the messenger, and people are attacking them because they don't want information to be shared. So
so there's no
not defending them.
There's no reason
they're defending themselves.
This is where the principle of self-defense in violence is very important. The only time violence is ever justified is in the immediate defense of life and limb, or in defense of something essential to that, and it must be in defense against an act of aggression. And it can be property too, because say you have a pacemaker and someone goes to steal your pacemaker, well, they're trying to kill you, even if they don't know.
You order something and it comes in the mail. It's a federal crime to fuck with people's mail and mailboxes. These are federal government employees that people are literally trying to murder because they're just trying to deliver the goddamn mail.
But here's the thing, Mercedes, we know right away they're not just taking it with their own security and like identifying these threats. They're sharing with other federal agencies.
But are they? Are they being cool?
That's what they said they're doing. It says they're sharing with other federal agencies.
Oh yeah, that's right. They did admit the truth.
If it was UPS doing it, it would be transparent. They wouldn't have to be secretive about it. They would say, yes, we have sensitive cases where if we find something, we might respond before publicizing it, but that's not the same as, oh yeah, we run a covert intelligence program that's protected by government that spies on all Americans. Different story. So I don't know if there are any other more implications about this, but there is a quote here from University of Chicago professor who questioned why the post office would be tasked with something like identifying violent protests. See, it's beyond securing postal workers already. 2 months after the January 6th attack, which would appear to have little or nothing to do with the post office's role in delivering mail. Quote, I just don't think the Postal Service has the degree of sophistication that you would want if you were dealing with national security issues of this sort. That part is puzzling. There's so many other federal agencies that could do this. I don't understand why the post office would be doing it. There's no need for the post office to do it. You've got HBO. You got FBI, Homeland Security, and so on. I don't know why the post office is doing this. Why? Because they can.
It's because they're bored. They have nothing else to do. I can't statist anymore. I can't do it. It hurts.
All right,
me.
all right. Back to the comments, Mercedes. We got another big grab bag pack of cool stories to skim here before we come back to you for the last few minutes. Keep those jokes coming. Post office is a welfare job. Not necessarily. Not well. It might be an inefficient job, right? If the post office is kept alive by government forces that make physical mail irrelevant, and the job shouldn't exist. But it's an actual job providing a legitimate service of delivering mail. That's not in and of itself a welfare job. It might be more like digging ditches and filling them back up, but it's not even that bad. Even if it's just sort of that's a big part of it, right? From TMZ.com, police brutality, cops stop fellow officer from punching handcuffed woman, punching cop placed on paid leave. And this is awesome. And this is being hailed as, part of the follow-up to Derek Chauvin, because it wasn't just Derek Chauvin who was convicted. And it's not just this case, but the message of the Derek Chauvin case, of what it sends. I'm like, this is so beautiful. Let's really soak this in and let this appreciate this. Yes, okay. And as I say that, you show the woman getting punched, but you're also seeing now other cops intervening and stopping this from happening and making sure that she's okay, that they know they're being filmed. Like they know, or at least they know they could be filmed at any time. But it's in the Derek Chauvin, the George Floyd case. It wasn't just that Derek Chauvin was found criminally guilty, yet to be sentenced on 3 charges, but that there were 3 cops criminally charged for not stopping him. And now this every cop in the country knows. The George Floyd murder, you can call it that. And I don't care the statist definition differentiation between murder, manslaughter, whatever. We know what he did. He was responsible for his death. But the case and how this is played out, because of the public pressure. And BLM, maybe not the national organization, but the movement as a whole, for that pressure being there, they do deserve some credit for this. Now, it's not over. Chauvin's got a chance for appeal. I think they all do in some of their cases. But just that they know, like, no, if you see another cop doing something wrong, if you see him killing somebody, you have a responsibility. So even in this case, maybe he's just roughing somebody up because he's out of control. He's punching a handcuffed woman. I support the theory that is why they intervened. They had that greater consciousness, in large part due to the George Floyd story. As Yahoo News reports from LA Times, we are trapped here, Mexican town isolated by cartel terror. Yeah, the town of Aguililla, situated deep in one of Mexico's most lawless regions, made news this month when 8 headless bodies were dumped there. 3 weeks later, it is at war. Hardly anybody enters or leaves, at least not without the permission of rival gangs that have blocked the roads. In telephone interviews and social media postings, trapped residents described a community living in terror of armed thugs who stroll the streets and shoot at one another. Some shops remain open, residents said, but the food supply is dwindling and there is no access to hospitals. Thanks, American government. Drug war. Yeah, MSN with this from Insider. A mayor who raped a junior staff member in his office continues to run the town from his prison cell. Yeah, this is a suburb of Paris in France. Georges Tron, mayor of Dravet, I assume some French pronunciation, something like that. A Parisian suburb, was convicted of rape and sexual assault in February. He has refused to resign and continues to run the town of 30,000 people from his prison cell. Opposition leaders and feminist groups have asked the French government to remove Tron from office. Opposition leader, yeah, so crazy story. For more than 2 months, he was once a central government minister under Sarkozy, has run the town of Dry a southern suburb of Paris, from his prison cell after being convicted of the rape and sexual assault of a junior staff member at his town hall office. The 63-year-old was given a 5-year sentence, 2 years suspended. He's denied the charges and lodged an appeal with the French Supreme Court. If it plays out and he wins on appeal, it's going to be really interesting, and we are all going to be getting into the details of this case. Tron was originally cleared of rape and sexual assault in 2018. 2 former municipal employees accused Tron, who they say claimed to be an expert reflexologist, of forcing them to engage in foot massages that turned into a sexual assault in 2007 and 2010. But after an appeal trial in February, Tron was jailed in connection to one of the accusations. After the guilty verdict in February, the Dravai Town Hall released a press release with a statement from Tron, who said he would refuse to resign and would work to prove his innocence. Cool story, bro. All right. Speaking of cool story, the Sun, of course, not cool if there's a real sexual assault involved and he's just successfully beat it back. But if there's no sexual assault and he's successfully defending himself, then this, epic story. And I hope it puts some balance into the legal system there against false sexual assault accusations. The Sun.co.uk, cool headline here, great lengths. Would you dare? World's first, and you don't have to show the video here, but just the picture. This is really cool. Go ahead and just scroll down to the picture. World's first floating sky pool with glass bottom to open in London next month. And it's like, yeah, that's it. They figured out how to engineer. Jim, you got to scroll down if that's your picture. It's there's, you can see it there. You can see from underneath. There's a few other cool cool pictures with this article. Jim, yeah, there you go. So from underneath, that's what someone swimming in this thing looks like. Yeah, they have successfully engineered a transparent sheet of something like glass to have the world's first floating sky pool. Cool, huh? Also cool, just that we can tell this story, cops being exposed as criminals, Fox29.com. DC cop cars totaled after officers drag race in Northeast, says Commander. That's Northeast of the city. 2 DC police cars were totaled after officers decided to drag race each other. Yeah, according to an internal email obtained exclusively by Fox 5's Lindsay Watts. Yesterday, 2 60 scout cars were totaled because officers decided, instead of fighting crime, patrolling their beats, or engaging the community, they decided to drag race each other on Anacostia Avenue at 5 p.m. in the evening. Yeah, and the email goes on to say, what does this say to all the members of MPD who are passionate about their job and work hard every day to make a difference? This is not fair to any of us. Yeah, it's the 99% that give the rest of us a bad name. All right, Fox 5 New York, speaking of giving cops a bad name, Air Force Base deploys pack of robot dogs to enhance security. MPs, yeah, no, this is okay. I don't mind. If you want to do more surveillance, but why do you need dogs when you can station cameras? Kind of interesting. We'll see. Freethink.com, another cool high-tech story I could have saved for Friday. Farming robot kills 100,000 weeds per hour with laser. A person can weed about 1 acre of crops per day. This smart robot can weed 20. And it's about time. And why is this so big? Chemical herbicides. Thing of the past. Innovating our way out of the government problems, out of statism, but like even out of just the shortcomings that are exacerbated by government corporatism that allows things like Roundup to get up and cause cancer when there are better natural alternatives. And while the natural alternatives have been suppressed in order to support Monsanto, the maker of so much of this poisonous crap, well, I'm not here to doomsday based on what Monsanto was able to get away with, because eventually this kind of technology just makes that kind of criminal enterprise unviable. Next up, speaking of high tech and government being beat, how Wyoming became the promised land for Bitcoin investors. The state is attracting crypto firms with its cutting edge legal framework for digital assets. Yes. So while Wyoming is traditionally driven by mining, agriculture, and tourism, in recent years, the state has emerged as an unlikely champion of far newer inventions, cryptocurrencies, and blockchain. The cowboy state is now arguably the most crypto-friendly jurisdiction, thanks to state leaders shepherding in a series of laws. So this is just the competition. At some point, they can't stop it. Even if the federal government says, we want to fight Bitcoin, well, once the cat's out of the bag, Wyoming goes, hey, we want to draw, economic activity to our territory. We're a competing sort of criminal gang, subsidiary gang. This is, you think of, the federal government as the cartel boss and state governments as cartels with local territory or sort of regional enterprises within this bigger cartel. Well, can the boss really keep them all in line when they see economic opportunity? Maybe not. From Reuters, breaking a barrier, women become U.S. Marines after surviving the Crucible. And I was like, this is a thing? I'm like, we had women Marines. Didn't they go through the Crucible? Back now for the first time to the skipping past the details of the window into what the Crucible is like, a 54-hour test of strength and spirit that recruits must pass before becoming U.S. Marines. And I remember that, being on the top of the Reaper at Camp Pendleton, getting my EGA pinned on, and it's a very emotional moment. I think I cried. And there were recruits bawling. Now, for the first time, women from the Marine Corps Recruit Depot in San Diego have gone through the Crucible and earned their Eagle, Globe, and Anchor emblems at Camp Pendleton, the sprawling, hilly Marine base about 40 miles north of San Diego. Previously, female recruits and drill instructors were limited to the only other Marine boot camp at Parris Island, South Carolina, which graduates 3,400 female Marines a year, about 10% of the total number of new Marines created on both coasts. And it's really not that big of a barrier. There are Marines there. We call them WMs or what rubber mattresses. Women Marines. There are all sorts of derogatory fun terms for them. But I want to be derogatory towards the idea of women being in the military in the first place. Like, really? The thing that men should be ashamed of, you're proud to be a part of now? Fuck that. No. From MSN, Benzinga, one more Turkish crypto exchange suspected of exit scam after $2 billion Thodex scandal. Turkish cryptocurrency exchange Vebitcoin has suddenly ceased operations, leaving its customers without access to their assets in a supposed exit scam. Now, so this is not the first time that this has happened. There have been other currencies that go down. Another headline describing this is $2 billion worth of crypto might be stolen as Turkish exchange halts operations. And the thing is, there's so much that's not being told. Remember, like even with the Ross Ulbricht story, how much came out years after his arrest about, oh yeah, the FBI agents were all actually stealing money from him as well, getting the crypto for themselves, right? And now it's and even as in the movie, the story of the Silk Road, they portray the FBI agent as stealing money to they excuse it as, oh, he's doing it for his sick daughter or disabled daughter, excuse me. But now when I see something like this happening, just like it did with BTC-E and other crypto exchanges in the past, you go, well, I'm feeling government's really behind this. Speaking of government behind shit, Futurism.com has a pretty disturbing headline here. Another one that, as activists, we must all remain keenly aware of. Russia accused of using deep fakes to imitate political rivals. Nothing on the internet is real. Yeah, soon that's going to take all the more relevance. Russia accused of using deep fakes to imitate political rivals. Wow. The individual gained access to multiple senior level meetings. And excuse me, now I've got a really pop up blocking the story from futurism.com. This is really, they don't want us to talk about this of all things. You just got to look into the shade now here. Excuse me. All right, now it's back. Deepfake deceptions. Senior officials in the European Union may have been tricked by bad actors using deepfake technology to pretend to be Russian opposition leaders. I keep getting this pop up that's blocking me from reading this story. Is this futurism.com? Can we? And the pop up isn't loading. It's just a white square on mine. So I just have to wait for this to load and make it go away, Jim. All right. Authorities suspect that Kremlin operatives may have used the deepfakes in order to gain information against Alexei Navalny's opposition movement, according to The Guardian. Among those who have been fooled include Tom Tugendhat, the chair of the United Kingdom's Foreign Affairs Select Committee, who claimed that Russia was behind the potentially deep-faked meetings. As he tweeted, Putin's Kremlin is so weak and frightened of the strength of Navalny, they're conducting fake meetings to discredit the Navalny team. They got through to me today. They won't broadcast the bits where I call Putin a murderer and thief, so I'll put it here. Oh, I've reached my limit of articles. We'll have to come back to this one because this is really interesting to know that you go, well, what are, deep fakes are considered the, way, and a deep fake could be a photograph or a video, but, a digital fake that is of a false identity, either fabricated or real. And we have the technology now that with, and I would be really easy because there's tons of video footage of me out there. I mean, the thing that would be hard, I guess, would be that my hair changes all the time, right? But no, it's not hard to make a deep fake video. If you have even a photograph of someone now, it's software. It's just programming. I mean, we've had the computing technology or the computing power for some time to do this. But you can take a photograph of someone and create a digital avatar and then animate that. You can take a sample of their voice and write a script, and then it spits it out in vernacular based on their voice. And who's the first to use this? Government. You think American intelligence agencies aren't on this too? Yeah, right. Okay, so now that's what they're doing covertly. What are they doing openly? AFP from Yahoo. Russia orders Navalny group to suspend activities. Russian prosecutors on Monday ordered jailed opposition figure Alexei Navalny's Anti-Corruption Foundation and its regional network to suspend all their activities, its director said. Just suspend. A Moscow court on Monday had begun preliminary hearing into designating FBK and its regional offices as extremists after prosecutors requested that they be added to a list of terrorist and extremist organizations run by Russia's anti-terrorism committee. And the language there, is it obvious now? Terrorism and extremism, totally different things. To not believe in some extreme ideas is to be a pretty boring human. To be a terrorist and threaten violence against people to get even your mundane ideas across makes you an asshole. Totally different ideas. And you see, that's how they demonize people. It's interesting to see how this is being covered in Russia, too. The activities of Navalny's, as they quoted here, the activities of Navalny's offices and FBK were immediately suspended. FBK's director Ivan Zhdanov wrote on Twitter on Monday, attaching screenshots of a prosecutor's decision. The Moscow City Court confirmed that activities of the group's regional network were suspended, but clarified that prosecutors had the power to make the decision and said that a final court ruling on designating the group as extremist was still due. In a statement on its Telegram channel, Navalny's office in Moscow said the group will already no longer be able to work as usual. It would be too dangerous. It would be too dangerous for our employees and our supporters, it said. The team promised that it will continue to fight against corruption, the ruling United Russia Party, and President Vladimir Putin in a personal capacity. It will not be easy to fight, but we will win, absolutely, because there are many of us and we are strong. Prosecutors on Friday said they had requested the extremism label for FBK and its regional offices because they are engaged in creating conditions for the destabilization of the social and socio-political situation. What if that's what needs to happen? It also accused the organization of creating conditions for changing the foundations of the constitutional order. Yeah. Oh, so you're just fighting change now. That's your only excuse. Change is bad. We can't change the. Will we make it something better? No, whatever the constitutional order is must be maintained forever at all costs. And when our principles don't matter, and we will jail and violate individual rights for activists. And this isn't a new thing here. Russia's list of extremist organizations currently consists of 33, including the Islamic State, Al Qaeda, and the Jehovah's Witnesses. See how they put those together? The groups are banned from operating in Russia, and participating in their activities can result in lengthy prison terms. Navalny, Russia's best-known opposition politician, is serving 2.5 years in a penal colony on old fraud charges he says are politically motivated. And it makes you wonder, going back to that prior story, right? What deep fake manipulation is being used around this to further manipulate the conversation, to get the public to consent, right? Hence the saying, manufacturing consent, right? Great documentary series by that name, I believe. Manufacturing consent. They can make you consent to this absurdity through censoring channels like this, messages like this. And in Russia, they still get away with outright banning groups. And somehow they have convinced the public that banning speech can somehow be justified in the interest of their safety. And with that, let's get back to our co-host Mercedes for some comments today. Do we have a winner for we got to have more jokes.
I mean,
yeah.
So here's okay. So back when we were talking about Monsanto, so we have a Monsanto here where I live, and it's not
Monsanto. Oh yeah, well I've got 3 Monsantos in my pocket right now.
That's weird that you'd have them in your pocket. You should probably get checked for cancer. But Bayer consumed Monsanton. And then below that, D. Vincent W said Bayer aspirin. Does your lawn have a headache? And that's probably the funniest shit I've heard all day, because that when you were talking about it, I'm like, they're Bayer now, and Bayer does aspirin, and so the fuck. And then that joke came up, and then watch Bayer be an extra vaccination provider. That thought has also crossed my mind, because that's what happens when capitalism is involved in vaccines. So as of now, D. Vincent, is he a member of the Producers Club?
I don't think he is. I was asking for his contact info in there the other day.
Okay, if you are.
Oh, but I got it from you. But he didn't respond. He's not in the Producers Club chat on Telegram.
Okay, so D. Vincent, if you could email Jim at thefreedomline.com. Adam already wanted to get a hold of you. First. Second, I have a plot twist to the comment contest right now, because we had 2 people already winning it. The Domino and you're old friends with him. Okay, so there, now I get to do this. Okay, so we had first Domino and where is it? I'm scrolling up. I'm sorry. Jet Petty. They're tied right now. Jet Petty's in. Okay, so that means that by default, first domino, if you're not a member of the Producers Club, you win today. There we go. Look,
It's
I don't even get to do my sidebar. I was gonna say whoever emails first, go. But they already are there, so it's fine. So there we go. Okay, yes, that's comment contest. He was funniest today. He did a super chat. Thank you for that, sir. So yeah, there we go. That's today's stuff. I got nothing. It's a moon day, man.
Solid show for mental health. Okay, that's what we got. That's what we got to do now.
Hold on, I gotta give Cora yogurt.
Right, I got the studio wrong. I'm irresponsible. No,
There you
it's.
go.
I'm not. I can't give it. I need a minute. My bong is irresponsibly
Okay.
empty.
Yeah, it's not really a mental health Monday. I mean, I can't lead mental health Monday while my own mental health is in shatters. So moon days are perfect because, whatever. It's not that it's in tatters and shatters. It's that you can't be happy all the time. Being well-adjusted human is not healthy to be all the time. You need to process, you need to feel, you need to think about shit. Sometimes that means you need humor and a supermoon to get super emotional.
Laugh at dark shit.
I love, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It just be like that sometimes. So healthy disrespect for authority says that he was waiting for the song, and then Whoop-de-Doo says safe moon day. And then Jet Petty says, "Yay, Domino for becoming a member." I'm a member.
What's the joke? Not dark comedy is like food in communist Russia. Not everybody gets it.
Oh, speaking of communist Russia, when I learned about
Can I say
communist
that?
Russia,
Wait, should I
yeah,
say
that's
that
right.
with a meaner, like movie Russian
Communist,
accent?
you must speak
Not everybody gets it.
You got to speak with communist Russian accent if you're going to act like communist Russian. And the reason why I learned this in my poli-sci class in high school about communism and why people in Russia were mad when we changed their government type. When America goes in and says, this isn't working for us, so you have to change your government. Be a democracy. We don't like what you're doing. Change. Well, we bomb you until you do. So in communist Russia, Tuesday was vodka day. It doesn't matter what's going on in the rest of the world. Every Tuesday was vodka day, and you could depend on vodka being in the stores on Tuesday. And that dependency, that liability of knowing when things were going to be in stock and having a schedule is why people were mad. You took away their stability and replaced it with capitalism.
Smoke weed every day.
Sorry, I'll do it again.
Cora's still in the house. I can't smoke with you. Pretty much. It'd be like
Where's
that sometimes.
Jim?
He ran away again. He came in, blew smoke in my face, and left. Just be like that. He's hiding.
Well, there is one. We're gonna like chop up the normal ending of the show here because I'm gonna do part of the good news with you to make this a proper mental health Monday. I've got this ready. And I think this is like you're like what? Your problem with mental health Monday? This was your idea. All right,
Yeah.
so
It is my idea. I was doing this on my own before I brought this with me.
So from goodnewsnetwork.org, Good News in History, April 26. It was 1900 years ago today. Marcus Aurelius was born, the wise emperor of Rome, who lived from 161 to 180, was known as much for his philosophical writing as for his reign. And they have some good quotes here. Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking.
Yeah.
You didn't believe, and philosophy, I think it is perhaps it is underexamined, the intersection of philosophy and mental health. Not enough pretentious liberal arts college students have written theses on this subject.
No, not nearly.
But I think it is one worth considering. That's like, what is the point of philosophy? It's living well. It's understanding the world and yourself and how to live, right? In bigger concepts, abstract thinking. Like that's what's required for mental health as well. Having a good, accurate understanding of yourself and the world, and being able to have the kinds of ideas and habits and thought mechanisms, the right thoughts to live a good life. Is that not right?
No, yeah, no, that's right. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm getting distracted by the comment section because me I made the trolls mad.
I was hoping you were being distracted by the brilliance of what I was saying there.
I mean
but okay,
that
comments are
too, but no,
probably-
I mean Adam, you're brilliant. We already know this, but no, I pissed the trolls off.
Okay. Well, good. They need to be fed. Feed the trolls, please.
They
That's
are
your job.
definitely
If I don't
being
feed the
fed.
trolls, co-hosts need to make sure the trolls get fed. All right, so go back to good news. He didn't believe a society should be divided by class or engage in slavery. He believed all men were equal and that the government's purpose was to serve the people. He wrote, "Men exist for the sake of one another." Now, to how much this is actually like true that you can be an emperor or a king and truly be righteous and maintain that unjustifiable power or authority, hard to say, right? And that can be evaluated in as a separate question. I'm not trying to endorse the reign of Marcus Aurelius, merely pointing out that what he represented for humanity in terms of advancing thought through philosophy was not insignificant. He was a faithful husband and father. He studied Stoic Greek philosophers who believed in detaching yourself from everything that is outside of your power to control. He compiled a handbook entitled The Meditations that advises how to live one's life, which is also revered as a literary monument to a government of service and duty. The greatest leader of Rome died at age 58. So there's more. Here's another famous quote I want to share that they have here. "Never let the future disturb you. You will meet it, if you have to, with the same weapons of reason which today arm you against the present. Remember that neither the future nor the past pains thee, but only the present. The things you think about determine the quality of your mind. Your soul takes on the color of your thoughts. Look within. Within is the fountain of good, and it will ever bubble up if thou wilt ever dig." Now, Mercedes, as people who have both experienced symptomatic anxiety at various points in our life, so to speak, does this not sound like a cure? I mean, if you could just have this like on the ceiling above your bed, or like if you had an AI program on your phone that could detect your anxiety and just hit you with a text message with this every time it got to, you'd be like, okay.
So actually,
not a thing.
it's fun that you say that. So I actually subscribed to a text messaging service based on mental health like things that would give you a positive, uplifting text every day and then send you to their website. My therapist, it's called Shine. I think it's called Shine. My therapist even said it. This is great. It's based off of this rhythm. Go for it. If this is going to help you be affirmed and not be anxious and realize that you are in charge of your thought process and you are in charge of the energy you put out, do it. Like, I'm very much into the Greek philosophers. My cat is named Sophocles and my dog is named Nemesis. So yeah, it be like that sometimes. Yes, that's you can think yourself into the hole, but you can also think yourself back out of it.
Okay.
But
well,
no,
I have kittens named Fire and Fury in case Donald Trump ever wants to introduce
God
North
bless
Korea.
America. It's fine. Oh, but this comment does need to be addressed because I bashed capitalism. Here's the beautiful thing about libertarianism. I have the freedom to bash capitalism if it doesn't work for me because the barter system is real. It came before money. And in my community, we use a mix of both. We barter and use capitalism. So it's not that we're not a libertarian show because I'm not gung-ho on the dollar. It's that I know how capitalism works and it doesn't work for everybody. And as a libertarian, I believe everybody has the choice in the way they pay for things. That's why sex work is work.
Yeah, well, you're a voluntarist first
I am.
before economic system, and you believe in self-determination of individuals and communities to spontaneously create whatever economic system best suits them without coercion, regardless of what they call it. But you use that term capitalism, and I think I'm really making an effort now to avoid it because it's kind of a tainted term, like anarchist. Like I know what the dictionary says is this definition but what does it mean to it? Like, and like, I say the same thing with communism. Like, I don't bash communism based on historical evidence, except as bolstering what is my rational analysis of the core ideals. And I don't disagree that at a small scale, at a community level, at a voluntary level, that a form of communism can work. Maybe
Yeah,
not
they just
optimally. Maybe I would say there's a better way, but if people want to do that, they can. And so, look, if you say what historically has been called capitalism is capitalism, fuck no, it's not. And what historically has been called communism is communism, fuck no, it's not. Those economic ideals that both are tempting to people for noble reasons have been perverted by governments throughout human history, or at least modern history of understanding economics.
Absolutely. It looks really good on paper until the wrong people get a hold of the plans, and then nobody knows what's going on, and we're all living in an animal
But
farm.
for 1 second, back to the mental health aspect. This
Yeah.
idea, never let the future disturb you. This is a rational examination, a philosophical explanation of why you should live in the present. And it's a reminder that keeps you present.
Mm-hmm.
And anxiety is a product of not being present.
You're
And this
you're
is why
stuck.
we need to teach children philosophy again. It is the
Make
greatest bulwark against mental health issues that we could give them, besides love and nutrition and shelter and oxygen and water. Philosophy and that understanding is the next most important thing, and we have really failed in that, it seems, at least in terms of what we know we are capable of, right?
it's almost they've weaponized it almost to elitism, because if you're not privileged to have this kind of education where they're still teaching it, you're
Yes.
not going to know these things, and it's elitist and it's snobby, and it's how they keep people in their classes where they want them to be. And this is why we smoke weed.
All right,
Everyone.
Mercedes, on that, thank you for co-hosting today, doing a great
Thank
job
you,
to
thank you.
everybody who commented. Here's to philosophy and mental health.
And our founding fathers and some Delta 8, because that shit, I was in a time warp.
All right, take us home, producer Jim.
What's going on? Let me click a few more buttons, do my thing. We had some extra time today. We had Phil, so that was fun. Hopefully by now you've joined t.me/Adam vs. the Man on the Telegram Messenger. Even you didn't make a note of it, but I thought you were going to. One of our stories today made mention of Telegram Messenger. You glossed right over it. You went right through it. Like, I don't even know if you noticed. Now you're asking too much. I don't remember.
All right, but yeah, no. Telegram.
One of them stories though, it was right towards really the end. They said something on Telegram Messenger and something.
Oh, demonizing it. Yeah, right. See, yeah, proving my point. If I had made that connection, that.
Yeah. But anyway, it's there. So join us on Telegram Messenger, because fuck them. And t.me/Adam vs. the Man is the public way to do that. Or you can be like the winner of our contest today and be awesome and get access to the private producers club. That person's supposed to email me at jim@thefreedomline.com. But if you don't want to wait until you can win a contest, or you want to just buy your way, or you want to just support the show in general, you can go to adamvstheman.com, like you see on your screen. Click on the Patreon button, $1, $5, $10 a month. $10 a month will make you a better patron and give you access to the Producers Club, which you can then use to shop at the shop and get 15% off and free shipping on everything there. Adam vs. Man show logo and Freedom logo on everything we have. Visit the Cigar Federation. They have awesome CBD infused cigars called the CBD Nugs, or called the JSK Nugs. You can use promo code Adam10 to get 10% off there on your entire order. Also, check out Instagram at the Garden of Freedom. Lots of cool pictures and videos of everything that Adam's got going up there in Gardenia. So keep yourself updated with his life up there through Instagram at the Garden of Freedom. Check out the crypto6.com, because they still need their help with the Bitcoin situation going on up there. Crypto6.com, you can learn more information about that. And lastly, get yourself educated on off-grid living and be cool like Adam with one of those wind turbines, micro wind power. Go get that from gogreenenergyonline.com and take a video of yourself putting it up and being awesome. That's all I got.
All right. Thank you, Jim. More from good news on this day in history. 1607, an expedition of English colonists established the first permanent English settlement in the Western Hemisphere, later calling it Jamestown. On this day in 1963, Libya amended its constitution to allow for female participation in elections. On this day in 1994, physicists announced the discovery of a top quark subatomic particle. On this day in 2005, under international pressure, Syria withdrew the last of its 14,000 troops from Lebanon, ending its 29-year military domination of that country. But perhaps most interestingly, from today's good news, it was in 2000, the nation's first bill allowing same-sex couples to form civil unions was signed by Vermont Governor Howard Dean. That's right, 2000. It was that recent. And with that, peace and love, y'all. Choose happiness and be excellent to each other.